Breaking. Will Ethiopia invade Eritrea? Or is it just desperate for a port again? Addis Ababa, May 1st, 2025. Ethiopia, landlocked, restless, and clearly done with paying rent to Djibouti, is reportedly eyeing its northern neighbor with a mix of nostalgia, resentment, and possibly military intent. Word on the geopolitical street? Addis Ababa might be gearing up to liberate the port of Aseb, or at least fantasizing about it loudly enough to make Asmara glance nervously over its sunglasses. Aseb, the saltwater mirage in Ethiopia's desert of dreams. Let's talk about Aseb, the port Ethiopia once used like a family car, until the 1998 to 2000 war turned the keys over to Eritrea permanently. Ever since, Ethiopia's been landlocked and landlocked. No offense to Djibouti, which has been generously charging Ethiopia billions in port fees, while smirking all the way to the bank. But lately, Ethiopia's rhetoric has turned thirsty, very thirsty. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has waxed poetic and strategic about reclaiming sea access, even floating ideas like, "We were one people once, maybe we should share." Translation: Aseb is cute and we want it back. This has understandably set off alarm bells in Asmara, where President Isaias Afwerki likely responded by tightening his already ironclad grip on the country and probably muttering something about, "No one touches my coastline." Troops near the border. Just spring cleaning. We swear. Reports of Ethiopian troop buildups near the Eritrean border have made regional analysts raise their eyebrows, sip their tea, and say things like, "Here we go again." The Ethiopian government insists there's nothing to see, just some military readiness exercises. You know, like when someone cleans their house aggressively after a breakup, hoping their ex sees them from across the street and regrets everything. Meanwhile, Eritrea isn't saying much, because Eritrea never says much. But they've been conscripting teenagers like they're going out of style, which, spoiler alert, they never were. Diversion or desire? Is this about territorial ambition or domestic distraction? Ethiopia is dealing with political unrest, economic hardship, and an audience that's tired of inspirational speeches. What better way to distract everyone than with an ambitious, flag-waving project? Operation Wet Dreams, the return to Aseb. Or maybe it's real, a belief that Ethiopia can no longer survive paying port fees for eternity while having its own coastline just across the border, whispering sweet nothings in the wind. Regional neighbors, just here for the chaos. Djibouti is sweating, and not from the heat, watching its golden goose consider flying north. Sudan is being Sudan, and Somalia is probably wondering if anyone still remembers it's technically a country too. Meanwhile, the African Union has issued its classic urges restraint statement, the diplomatic equivalent of yelling, "Children, please," from another room. The UN, tired from managing 15 other crises, has dropped its usual reminder that war is bad, and China is calculating port ownership risk like a merchant in a chess game. Conclusion: war, port, or PR stunt? So will Ethiopia invade Eritrea to reclaim Aseb? Honestly, it depends on whether this is just another dramatic episode in Horn of Africa history, or whether Abiy's port dreams turn into port plans. One thing's for sure, if Ethiopia moves north, it won't be for sightseeing. It'll be because Addis has finally had enough of paying rent for ocean access, and might just decide to kick down the neighbor's door and take the keys. Stay tuned, the Horn is heating up, and not just from climate change.